controlliamo tutto. E qui abbiamo ferma, Giotta. Si vede. No. Sì, sì, sì. Uno con la corrente.
Possiamo staccare una cosa dentro nella porta?
Sì.
Come si fa?
Per staccare, sì. Posso fare?
Sì, sì, sì.
No, no, ma adesso riparte, quindi.
Fare così, no?
Perché non so, perché poi succedono splitter HDMI, quindi magari no, però vabbè. Vediamo. Ok.
La mia c'è? Che si chiama
Toccaponi.
Non riesce neanche a aprirla perché guarda un po'.
Salvato. No, ok.
Vabbè,
Io l'avevo inviato a... sì, prospetti, cioè abbiamo... Okay, now? Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this last session. This panel session is dedicated to the actual experiences on the use of indicators at the local level, both in terms of policy making and in terms of analysis and evaluation. Our panelists are actually coming from this world, the world of policy making. They are Daniela Toccafondi and Gabriele Tomei are both council members. Toccafondi at the Municipality of Prato and Tomei at the Municipality of Viareggio. But they have also experience at academic level, and they're experts of analysis and evaluation. On the other side, we have experts in terms of evaluation from the Paolo Prosperini from the technical committee on inner areas, and Letizia Bravagli from IRPET. They are experts in the use of indicators at local level to evaluate policies. I don't go much in detail on this. I just want to share with you what I actually asked to the panelists in the last days. What I would have liked to know from them was what was the effective use of data at local level for policy making and for evaluation that they had in their experience, share their experience and also their difficulties and the solution that they may have found to use those data. And also, and this is very relevant as National Statistical Institute, which I represent here, it's what are the information needs that are most urgent from their point of view and to carry out their work. This is also very much linked to work that we will present on Thursday within the Maxwell project, which is one of the projects which is promoting this workshop. And we have prepared a reflection paper, so-called, to propose some guidelines for the use, for the inclusion of statistical teams within the next framework program from the European Commission. So the research projects that the Commission will found in the next 7 years. And we made some proposals. We want this workshop to be also a place to have your opinions on what you think is needed to have in the next framework program. This will be very much in depth analyzed on Thursday, but I think this can be also a starting point for this discussion. Well, we start from the policy-making point of view, so I give the floor to Daniela Toccafondi. Thank you very much.
I have a short presentation. It's possible to have. Yes.
Okay. I think you have to move there.
So, good evening to everybody. I don't really don't know what you want to know from me, but I try to say something to you. I am. Okay. So, even though Matteo said that the dimension is not important, I want to explain you that Prato is a relevant big city, the third in the center of Italy, after Rome and Florence. And we have a lot of new conditions. We are in a sort of huge transformation that is very relevant. And some of the experts are asking if the business model is changing. As you know, we are a famous textile manufacturing district, but the textile companies continues to decline. Despite of that, we have a big community of apparel and clothing companies owned by Chinese people that continues to grow. That's the biggest transformation we have. The other one is the multiculturalism, because we have almost 2,000 inhabitants, but we have more than 120 ethnic communities. So we are a big city with a lot of culture. We have also transformation in commercial activities in the city center. We have less shop and store and more coffee and pubs. So it's a new quality of life and introducing in our city. People go out in the evening and not during the day. So for the municipality, one of the aspects is to promote diversification and reinforcement in other sectors. How we try to face this transformation? With a lot of projects. I don't really know how much they are. And the things that I want to say is that we do this project with a participatory process with the population. So we have face-to-face contact with a lot of people, and also a lot of seminar, meetings, events to understand what they want us to do. And one of the most famous projects are Pop-Up Lab. Prato si fa brand is a campaign on imaging of the city. Creazioni urbane and reversibility are the most important. We are also in participation with all trade unions and other institutions for the European project. And that's why we want to enforce our local industries, because you know, textile, the number of the companies are less than in the past, but the importance of the company is the same. They produce also almost the same GDP, and they export almost the same percentage of the production. Despite of this, the clothing industry owned by the Chinese people are in the low level of the market, so they don't have a relevant in economy. We want to make much more diversification and to attract more investment. So we have a relationship with other foreign university, and with the cinema, Italian cinema, with Manifatture Digitali Cinema, that is a place where the international film production can make films. We have done a focus on communication because we wanted to improve the image of our city. Most of the people knew Prato for the economy, for the political economy, for Chinese people, for Chinese communities, and we want to show that we are in force like in the past, and we are a very, very strong economy. We have a very, very strong economy. For example, I want to show you the condition of a Pop-Up Lab project, that it was a project with the participation of region of Tuscany and naturally the municipality of Prato, with the collaboration of Social Lab and the University of Florence. I say that because the University of Florence, the PIN, it's the campus of the University of Florence, is one of the most important conditions that we have in the city. We also work together with PIN, and even though the statistical office of the municipality do a great job our statistics office work normally for the demographic aspect, and we haven't a real collaboration with other subjects that are interested in economic and statistical studies, such as Chamber of Commerce or the trade unions and so on. And so we need the presence of PIN that is a collector, a place that make the information going on. And in this pop-up lab, we have a lot of big results, and we decided to use social media to make the people know what we are doing in that period. So we have, if you can see, 1,500 followers, 355 posts, 23 users, and a lot of people that were in real time known about the municipality work. We do a lot for textile, digitalization, and eco-sustainability are the two themes that are interesting for us. And for example, we had the heritage digitalization. It was a very big project with 12 private companies and the archive of the public textile museum. We digitalized all the sample that we have in the public museum and also in the private archive. So it was very, very important, and this is very important to make Prato in a special international network because of the product. As you know, we have also another part of the coin, and that is the black economy. Here, Pedro estimated that for 10 legal employees, we have 3 illegal employees in the Chinese community. And this is an aspect that change the possibility to understand in the right condition of the companies. And we have daily contact not only with the citizen or with the trade unions or the association, but also with the special figure that are the consortii. We have 7 different group of consortii in the ancient city, and consortii is a mixed association made by citizens and commercial entrepreneurs. And this is a new wave of collaborative economic strategy for the city. What I want to say, we need much more information for the problem. We have to do some economic decisions that are very important for the future, and we have really some problem about this. Even though we have a lot of people studying, and I think that Prato is one of the most important cities that it has been studied from all the aspects of all disciplines. But we have a lot of, we have perhaps too much data, and we are not able to make it with a very new interpretation of this data. So we have difficult to use time series because the province was born in 1995. We, industrial districts, are never overlapped with the administrative territory, so we have problem in that period. We have the absence of a full cooperation between the institution, and we have the absence of a single centralized research center. We have the absence of consistency between operative action and statistic data, and no correspondence between quantitative analysis and qualitative information. So that's why I ask you to help this big territory with a lot of new conditions. I think we are in the middle of something new, but we are not able to understand what is happening because we have too much information, and we can't understand with a real new interpretation of the economy of the area. Thank you very much. Sorry if I...
Thank you very much indeed. I am sorry for being so strict with the time, but of course the time is very much exact for the panelists, and we are the only thing that separates people here from the aperitif, so they can get straight. Well, I do wish, yeah, sure. Gabriele Tomei is council member for welfare at the municipality of Viareggio. He is also associate professor here in PITA of sociology. He's an expert of policy evaluation, so he has really all the tools to give us a presentation in this field. Thank you.
Thank you. Too many expectations from me. I just want to present my position, my role, because the point of view of a member of the council, the country council, or decision maker, is different from the point of view of the academic, and so we have to discuss. I suppose that your expectation here is to discuss about the difficulties from the point of view of users, of data users, about the analysis and the type of gathering and analysis data that you are discussing about in this conference. So my position is similar to my colleague. In the same way, I've been charged of a specific topic. In my case, is welfare policy. So I work in the domain of social inclusion. So this is my personal charge. But working about social inclusion in a local municipality means to be in a certain way obliged to manage the present and the very little, so manage the present situation of people and be in a certain way impeded to see the future and to see the wide. So these two different situations are the typical situation we have to face with. So for example, before entering this conference this evening, I was phoning to my colleague, the social services, because they had to face with a little young people in a psychiatric situation. They had to manage this one person. And at the same time, I have to manage this person and to think about which type of politics we have to organize in order to prevent the next case of this type. So discussing about data needs, information needs, and knowledge wishes have to be contextualized in this specific situation. So which are the main data limits? For me, I have experienced it in this 1.5 years of this type of work. So data limits at local level. I saw that at local level we have only fragmented micro data. So certain different kind of data, especially very micro, and because the official statistics in general emerge at the regional level, at least at the regional level and at national level. I have no statistics available at very local level. So this is the first limit. Have no indicators, no trends. The second limit is that data producers are not harmonized. There are still legal boundaries between the different producers. If I think about the needs of my office to analyze the income data, they have to overcome a boundary that separate municipality from INPS. And then if we have to analyze, we want to analyze data about health situation, we have to overcome another legal boundary that separate municipalities from the health services. So we can overcome, of course, but there are legal boundaries that are not in any case so easy to overcome. The third limit is that local institutions have no expertise to manipulate and to interpret macro data. We suffer difficulties and loss of specialized personnel. We have no specific expertise, no specific tools. So even if we, in a certain way, produce data, especially administrative data, we are not able to manage them. So which are the information needs? So this is a situation about data, but the situation about information and the needs for information. We have two different types of needs, at micro level and at meso level. At micro level, one need could be to aggregate in a certain way the personal data of the single person and the single household. So the possibility to have personal archives or household archives could be very important. And initially we have heard about this possibility from the national social services, the national health and social services, and also in a little way the regional level. But at the moment, nor of this great institution provided us with this type of aggregation. At meso level, the local authorities and local decision makers need the access to spatial type of data warehousing of administrative multi-source data. So we really need to complete aggregation of different kind of data that could be easily to access, friendly to manipulate. In a certain way, some local authorities experience the open data processes and open data archives that are very useful, but these are more possible at the district level, the provincia, nor at very local level, and especially in the medium-sized municipalities like mine, 63,000 inhabitants. So which are the, okay, 1 minute, no, thank you. The knowledge wishes, so which are the wishes in order to transform data and information into knowledge. I think that the first wish is to provide the local municipality with tools and reports that could analyze trend forecasts and explore complex socioeconomic dynamics. This is a really important things if we have some types of analysis like that, because we are embedded into a turbulent environment with many intervenient dynamics. So we need this type of cruscotto, some compasses in a certain way that orient the decision makers to do the right choice. The second wish is to have professionals that could interact with these tools. So we need human resources, human capital with this type of competencies. And the third one, maybe one of the more important, we need politicians that are really interested in evidence-based policy. But this is another problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Then I give the floor to Paolo Prosperini from the Department of Development Policies and Strategy for Inner Areas. He will explain us what inner areas are and how do they monitor them.
Good afternoon. Thanks to Professor Pratesi for this invitation. Actually, I have the opportunity during my professional activity to see this problem at the local, very local level in this city, at the EC level, and now I'm trying to see the problem how to use data for policy support at the national level. What exactly I'm try to a bit spot of what I'm doing, but I think is important to understand the three questions the chair proposed at the beginning of this session. What is actually means inner areas in Italy? Means something that EU doesn't want to accept. That means if you look at the territory, there is not just urban and rural, but you can read the territory according other different point of view that is not marginalized or deprived, but something different. That means basically that one. Why people live in far area within a state, and what are these areas? These areas, according to this methodology to identify, are areas that take into consideration one pole, one service center, and according to the distance to this pole, you can see that you are in a belt, in an intermediate, in a remote or an ultra remote area. That means basically that a family doesn't go living in a place where there is not an education offer, where there is not an health offer, and when it is very remote according to mobility. This is another way to see the territory that corresponds exactly at this map that we made in 2012 together with the Bank of Italy and ISTAT. And you see what always different according to urban or rural approach. What does it mean exactly? It means that these are the map, and then a three-level approach have to decide how to treat this territory. The three-level approach are the EU level, according to the European Structural Investment Fund, the national government, which provide the money, expertise, according with budget law, the region will provide money, and what to do this money? Basically, to try to propose together with the territory at the level of the municipality a strategy which is at least 15-25 oriented time. So I would say a long-term strategy. Using an approach of a counterfactual approach, what is going to happen if you don't change some kind of condition? This means what? This means that for doing that, we have been using more than 100 indicators, which are half statistics, half administrative, because not all the statistics data can provide you a photo of what is happening at the lower level in the small area. And this is an example. By using this open kit we match the desk analysis together with it's called a research action filed analysis, and we try to see the fact that this place have no offer in the education sector, how much does affect the real feeling of the population, the real sentiment of the population, and we do it using a lot of sociological instruments. In doing that, we arrive. This is an example of the open kits. We do arrive according with the 20 regions to decide to intervene not in all the inner area of the countries, but just using 72 area, which represent not so much. But this theme of the inner area is particularly on the floor, because there are some paper. One of the most famous, the Revenge of No Places. You don't know if you heard about it, which basically say that. On a political point of view, the place that we have neglected so far are the places that are against the government. This happened in the Brexit example. This happened in the Trump. Maybe it's happened in Italy, but not so far we don't have enough analysis accurate. So the themes seems to be increasing importance. This is the procedure how we go to the final strategy drafted by the local level. Can we measure in some times this process? Yes. Basically, we use, according to this open kit, a set of monitors indicator, output and outcome indicator, which help us at least to try to make some comparison. I cannot say it's a positive attempt because we are in the development, so I will be not very fair to say, oh, everything is okay. Let's see what's happening in 5, 6 years. The panel questions made by the chair were more or less these, if I'm not wrong. Potential effective use of data local scale for us is absolutely essential. It's so essential that in many cases our analyses are not at the local municipality or even smaller, but as Mr. Tomei said, at the country district. And the difference when you analyze a medium data, it's absolutely incredible from one municipality to the other. Difficult encountered, most of the case, the difficulty is that we don't know how to get this data. So we try to make a mixture which is not very scientific, but can be at least reliable. What information needs to be considered to be most urgent to comply with our needs for work and what data? Actually, what is our major difficulties is to have data regarding how people is moving. Because we have in Italy at least a good data regarding health and social sector, especially north, center of Italy. We have some readable data according to education, but it seems that mobility companies are not so accustomed to say how many people go into the bus and to the train. The train is different, but especially for local car and public services, it's absolutely incredible because they have a contract with the municipality, which is important how many kilometers you spend and not how many people you get into the bus. So this is our difficult perception. Let me finish with this, which is a typical phrase that my boss uses, which is a statistician, which you usually use to say, okay, if you read the statistics, read once, read twice, read a lot of time, because in the statistics, most of the case, there are all the information you needed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the panelists also for being so just in time. So, Letizia Ravagli has the floor. She's an assistant researcher at IRPET, that is the regional research office, and she's expert in welfare system and in income distribution issues. Letizia, the floor is yours.
Okay. Yes, I will talk this evening about the IRPET experience in estimating poverty indicators for small domains. Starting from what do we consider a small area in our studies. As I said before, we are a regional institute that works for the region of Tuscany. And in our studies for the region, often the small domain is the municipality or an aggregation of municipality or the province, the local labor system. But maybe more often it is just a subgroup of the population of households at regional level. So we usually have difficulties in obtaining good estimates also for subgroups of households at the regional level. And why, according to our experience, is important to monitor poverty at local level? at least for two reasons. First, because poverty increased during the crisis, also for our region, that typically has been characterized by low level of inequality and poverty with respect to the other regions. And the second, for the information that needs the region of Tuscany. Just to give you some examples, I reported in this slide some recent studies that were committed to IRPET by the region. For example, last year at national level, a new instrument against poverty was introduced in our countries, a sort of minimum income, but it's called REI, Reddito di Inclusione. So the region needs to understand how huge is the phenomenon of poverty in Tuscany and also at sub-regional level, and also to quantify the beneficiaries of this new instrument for our region. Just to give another example, some years ago, our region decided to introduce some transfers to households with certain characteristics. So we needed to estimate living condition for very small subgroups of households. For example, households with at least 3 children or with disabled children for the region of Tuscany. So, given our experience and our research objectives, I reported in this slide, according to our opinion, the most relevant strategies that can be followed to overcome these problems of estimation for a small domain. One is the oversampling of national survey. We tried this solution in the past, but this solution is very expensive and it needs the collaboration of the institutes that produce data. And finally, we never implemented it in our institute. Another solution is the realization of an ad hoc survey for the region of Tuscany. We realized an ad hoc survey for Tuscany in 2002, and this solution maybe is ideal, but it is very expensive. So in recent years, the policy of our institute is a little bit different, is to try to exploit existing surveys, for example, with pooling of different surveys. This year, for example, we are working on a pooling of different USIC waves. But maybe the best strategies, according to our institute, is the utilization of administrative data. We tried this experience some years ago with a research project that we started in 2013. The objective was to integrate 3 different administrative sources: tax returns by the Minister of Finance that is available to IRPET, the Catasto by Agenzia del Territorio, also available to our institute, and the registry of households that is in the availability of municipalities. The project in the first phase wanted to integrate administrative sources just for a subset of Tuscan municipalities. But the problem of this project is that it requires a strong collaboration with other municipalities. So finally, we didn't succeed in realizing this integration, since only 3 Tuscan municipalities joined our project. But as was mentioned before by ISTAT, a project is now available. It was made by ISTAT. It is called Archimede. That is similar with respect to what we tried to make in 2013. As was said before, Archimede is the integration of different administrative data sources. We are now in this month working of these data that are very important because with this data we can obtain estimates of poverty even at the municipality level. But notwithstanding this, we have anyway some problems with this data. For example, only gross income is available, only municipalities with more than 500 inhabitants are covered by the project, and only partial information on financial and real capital are available. And information are available only at the household level. Finally, always about our experience with administrative data, we think it is important database, the database of declarations that households use to certificate that is available to IRPET from 2008 and to 2017. And this is an important database since it contains many information also at local level, detailed information and updated information. But here the problem is different since we have this data only for households that make easy for some reasons to access to social services. But we think that this problem it should not be so high for if we talk about poverty. Anyway, in conclusion, we think as institute, as regional institute, as public administration, that we could exploit more the existing administrative data, and maybe for the future a more easy access to this information should be reached.
Thank you very much. Well, excellent. We have 5 minutes left. So, please, if you have any questions from the audience.
I think my question's related. It has to do with this wonderful initiatives and where are you getting data? So what is happening in Italy in terms of access to data? You know, great ideas, but can you do any? You know, can you actually implement them if you don't have, if you're not getting the data that you require? So it's very worrying, actually.
Thank you for the question, because this is a real important point. And this is what really happened when the municipality joined together in a consortium. For example, in order to manage social inclusion here in Tuscany, we have, in all Italy, we have a certain geographical aggregation that we call ambito. There is a special zone where the different municipalities have to add together resources and people and decision making. At that level, data are more easy to provide and more easy to manipulate even, but it's not easy to reach this type of level from a bureaucratical point of view, because we have this consortium, they manage organization services, but we have difficulty to join human resources in order to manipulate in the right way the data. For example, in our case in Tuscany, we have this consortium for social and health services, and in that case, the enterprise that are charged of health services provide very huge and quality data from health and social. But if we want to extract this data at a very municipal level, we find difficulties. So this is a way in order to reach this target, but it is not at the moment so clear and so easy to reach.
Yes, the problem to access to data is ordinary. We have all these privacy problems. We cannot link different administrative sources. So we are worried. We have all the things to guarantee security, but it is not sufficient.
If I can add something, being representative now. Of course, the issue of opening data is huge, and opening microdata is of course huge, and we at ISTAT are ourselves continuously struggling with the agency for privacy issues, with the National Authority for the Protection of Privacy Issues, to understand what can be opened, what can be linked. In many cases, there are many limitations on the linkage between sources, administrative, and so it's a continuous struggle. It has to be said that something is being done, and since September, for example, most of the surveys, microdata surveys, are totally open. It means that they are public. They are slightly changed in order not to be recognizable and whatever. So some estimates may differ slightly from the official ones, but researchers can actually work on that, and also local administration. Last but not least, we are starting this year the permanent census. This means that we don't do anymore, like in many European countries, the 10-year census, but we do a huge survey, let's call it this way, to update archives, and so to have statistics from the archives. This will lead in the next 5 years to have annual data also for small municipalities on a number of issues. Of course, not on all the surveys, but we will have an overall survey that will be definitely used. I want to just to wrap up the session, stressing two issues. One is the one that was raised about professionals. This is a great topic. For example, Archimede is being now used by some municipalities. For example, the municipality of Florence is working on that. But of course, we need people that is able to treat this data and to analyze it, to have the control. And this for small municipalities can be a big problem, even for there are groups of municipalities that are made, for example, for having a statistical office at least. most of the municipalities don't even have a statistical office, so they group the very small ones to have a statistical office, but still there you can just cover the census issue. So skills, and then finally big data. You ask for mobility information from our experimentation, Urtato and many others. Data from mobile phones can represent perfectly mobility daily, hourly, on the whole territory. We still have very much to do, our experimentation, but by the way, by the University of Pisa has conducted many of the experimentations together with ISTAT. We can also have planning for control of big events, or like football matches, and understand how the events move people from in and outside cities. And this is possible, still not on a constant basis, of course. But no problem. And the problem is that this is, in our opinion, data is being made available for public, not for when we ask each day a person of that's something one has some joke that the point is that you're right. You cannot ask anymore to the public services mobile as a loop, and more the size is more direct to the user telephone. But the answer is that you cannot spend 100,000 euros in manage public homes. So we have to put cities that we use that one. Even though people also go to Florida and go back. We should have opened a big discussion on the data society, but we will do this on Thursday for sure, because it's one of the themes of the reflection paper by Maxwell. Thank you very much, everybody.